Well, good morning or afternoon to all of you dialing in with us live today. Jo Palmer here, one of the co-founders of the Connection Table. Very excited to see lots of familiar faces of people who are already part of our the network of the Connection Table. We've got Julia Spicer, my co-founder, who is also joining us. I'm dialing in from the Rock on Wiradjuri country in southern New South Wales, and Jules is dialing in from Gundawindi, which is Big and Bull country up in southwest Queensland. So we are very excited to be joined by both Zanna and Lisa from the Country Education Foundation. Jules has put in a little poll for those of you who are dialing in live today, just to give these two an idea of those of you who have actually come across the foundation before. But we are very excited to have you both joining us to talk more specifically about the Tim Fischer Fellowship, which is the inaugural fellowship that is being managed by your gorgeous organisation. And so I just want to hand over to you if you want to give us a bit of a rundown on you guys, what the foundation does, and then let's delve into the fellowship, which I know everyone's very excited. So just to set the scene here, as mentioned, some of the people dialing in are already members of the Connection Table, and those of them that aren't will be by the end of this call, because I will have put a link to the website in there and they can join while they're listening with all ears. I'll hand over to you, Zanna.
Thanks so much, Jo. I'm Zanna and this is Lisa, and we're from the Country Education Foundation. And thank you so much for joining us today. We're really fortunate to have chatted with Jo last week and really excited to let you know more about the fellowship. But I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of the Country Education Foundation so that you're aware of our organisation for those who haven't heard of us before. So we support 16 to 25-year-olds in rural and regional Australia to access post-school education. So that can be anything from university or an online course or vet. It's quite broad, but any sort of education that they would like to access so that we can provide those opportunities that otherwise rural and regional students may not have had access to. So then we partner with university providers or vet providers and donors to give additional funding to those students depending on where they're studying and what they're doing. We have 49 volunteer committees that are scattered around Australia, so it's all locally fundraised for local students, which is the beauty of it, because they know the students, they know their communities, and they provide not only the financial support but also the background support for that student as they navigate potentially moving away from home, which can be quite daunting, and just the day-to-day of being a young person and navigating the world. So we offer mentoring programs, professional development. It's really trying to extend beyond the financial support as well. So in terms of the Tim Fischer Fellowship, obviously this is moving or extending our remit from just youth in rural and regional Australia and trying to encompass and bring in that opportunity for education for anyone that's in or has an idea that will impact rural and regional Australia. Tim Fischer was our first, was the first CEF patron. So we've been around for 30 years and we were really fortunate to have him on board as a patron, and his values as a person. I'm not sure how many people were sort of, most people I've spoken to are aware of Tim and his personality and have been touched by him in some way or another, but he really embodied what it is to give the opportunity of education to someone living in those communities and regional communities and bringing back those skills to those communities. He was really passionate about that and had a lot of personality in how he, and passion in how he delivered that. So we're now fortunate that Judy Brewer, his wife, is our patron and has been heavily involved in the development of this fellowship to ensure that it continues to align with who he was and who he embodied as a person. The fellowship is, as I said, it's open to anyone. You don't necessarily have to live in a rural and regional community, but your idea or your impact definitely has to drive back to a rural or regional community. It is quite broad, but that's the beauty of it this year, that you may be a teacher or an entrepreneur or a pilot or a nurse or a farmer. It's really open to anyone from any background with an idea or professional development that can improve or impact your rural and regional community. It is to commence within 6 months of receiving the fellowship, and ideally wrapped up within 18 months of that time frame. If for some reason it does extend past that, then we can discuss what that might look like. But ideally within that sort of 6 to 18 month period, you would undertake your fellowship. The process is applications are now open. There's a form online, and there's a number of documents that you can familiarise yourself with in terms of the guidelines and also the form that's available, so that we're trying to keep the process simple. I hope it's simple for people to apply. Really, we just want to understand who you are and what you do and what impact you're with, whether it be your training or education, or if you're trying to get an idea sort of up and running, what that looks like and how that would play out over the next 12 months, and then how you would utilise that $50,000 to sort of do that fund, like utilise that funding throughout the project. And there's also a video component as well. So you can send through the videos, and that closes on the 17th of August, and then we'll have interviews on Monday, the 22nd of September. So that's with the judging panel, and we'll all be online, and then the recipient will be announced at an event in Sydney on the 17th of October. So that's sort of the crux of what the fellowship is and what it embodies. It is for an individual, so it's not, whilst you can obviously work for an organisation, it's the individual that is the recipient of the fellowship rather than the organisation. And I would just encourage you to really think about that impact that you're having on that rural and regional community, and sort of how you're planning to utilise the budget throughout that time frame. And we'd look to also allocate you with a mentor or provide you some fantastic networking opportunities. We're really fortunate that we have a huge network now of volunteers and board members and donors and sort of different stakeholders that that you will also have access to as part of the fellowship, depending on sort of what your plans are and project is or training is. So that it will be sort of broader than just, I guess, what you have planned. We hope that we can also provide benefit to you through our network and connections that we have available as well. I think that's sort of the crux of it. Does anyone have any questions in particular, or is there anything that you're sort of unsure of reading through the fellowship that I can answer while we're online today?
You can feel free to turn your mic on. You don't have to use the chat. That's fine. Zanna, I've got a question around, do you want to talk through into a bit more detail about the sorts of things that you would be happy in signing off on as far as the spend of the dollars? Like, I'm assuming it's not going to be 50 grand cash deposited into someone's bank account. So what does that look like?
That would be nice. So it is a
Why are all these people dropping off the call?
I know.
Well played, Joe.
It is a reimbursement model, so it's not a wage as such. You would utilize it for your expenses or courses or travel, or sort of training or, research to get an idea off the ground. But the model is that you would be reimbursed, or if you were sort of paying for a particular program, then we could pay that invoice as part of that 50,000. So it isn't cash as such, yeah.
So just reiterating that you need to have some physical money or access to debt to be able to do the bits and pieces, because you're going to have to carry some time for reimbursement on things like this to be able to, or in order to do the things.
Well, not necessarily. Like if you had booked in a particular course, then we could pay that invoice up front rather than you having to pay that invoice. So as long as we have some sort of receipt or invoice, then we can pay that, so you're not out of pocket, because I know a lot of particularly professional development can be expensive. So yeah, we could definitely do that, so you don't have to pay that up front.
And I think it might be worth adding that it also isn't sort of giving the fellowship and then seeing you in 12 months. We want to keep contact with you, how you're travelling, what your milestones are. So yes, we can have those conversations, that if you need an invoice paid or if things have come up, we can face that as we go over those 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, particularly because it's literally one person that's going to be dealing with your team as well. I'm assuming it'll be pretty heavy communications wise between the fellow.
Okay. Yeah. I just saw that question on the main judging criteria. So the judging criteria is literally the questions. And in terms of the weighting, there's more weighting to the impact and sort of benefit of rural and regional communities. I would say that's the primary benefit. Obviously, having a concise idea and sort of well thought through idea and plans of how you utilize that funding, and sort of whether it's a project plan or if it's a particular course that you want to undertake, just having it really clearly set out. But I would say the impact on that rural and regional community would be the highest weighting for that.
Do you want to speak to the actual process of the interview?
So the interview, so we have 4 or 5 judges, and they are, so we've got Judy Brewer, Tim's wife, Nick Burden-Taylor, who's our chair, Richard Rains, Chris Roberts, and Wendy Mason, our CEO. So they'll be reviewing the applications as they come through, and then shortlisting for the interviews on the 22nd of September. And then they'll sort of, as a result of those interviews, select a recipient. I've just seen, so can the funds be spent on equipment to start a business? Yes, there's no reason why not. You could definitely put that in, because if it's a new business in a rural and regional area, then that's getting your idea or your project off the ground. So yeah, definitely. Any other burning questions?
I do have a quick question. I've got some students here interested in applying, but they are temporary residents, so they are not permanent. So even if their visa is till the end of the project, are they still able to apply or not?
Yeah, unfortunately not. It's just for permanent residents. Yeah, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can the funds be used to shoot videos as part of the overall project? Thanks, Jackie. Yes, they definitely can. As I said, it's quite, we're really lucky in the sense that it's quite broad, and essentially the purpose of the fellowship is really to enable someone to get their project or their education off the ground. So whatever that might look like. So if part of it is shooting those content videos, then as long as you sort of identify then how you would utilize those videos as part of sharing your impact or your project, then that would be fine. Yeah. The milestones, so we would be checking in quarterly, and then there would be a presentation at the end of the fellowship. So that would probably be in sort of October next year. We'd look to share sort of an update, and then it really will depend on what who's successful with the fellowship. Obviously, if there's someone that you know, it would make sense for them to present at different conferences or in front of different people, then we would help facilitate that. Or if that's something that you would do as part of your fellowship, then that's totally fine. But yeah, we would help you share that sort of your results of your fellowship as well, depending on what it is and what makes sense for you. Cool. Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, Glenn here. Can I just ask the question? Can it be for stuff other than normal run-of-the-mill rural? And I'm thinking here of the impact of sport on rural kids. Would that fit into the remit of what we're looking for?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a positive impact on rural and regional communities. So it doesn't have to be rural based, but the impact is felt by the communities.
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn.
Hi. Sorry, Lisa, you probably can't see me because I've got light behind me. Just on what Glenn said with a sporting background, can people living with a disability, could this be, you know, something that could be accessed for them, perhaps with sport, or is that being too particular?
I think it would depend on if it's for an individual or if it's for the community.
Be more community. I'm thinking along the lines of those of people with a particular disability who are interested in participating in sport, you know, that have aspirations to, you know, achieve great things in the future, or, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's really, I mean, probably keep saying it and hopefully it's clear, but it really is, you know, anything that's going to impact or improve your rural and regional communities.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, it is quite broad in that sense. Or it could literally be that somebody is doing some professional development and gaining a new or different skill to bring back to support their community.
Right. Why I ask that is that sometimes everyone says, oh, yes, not necessarily here, but, you know, it's inclusive and it's, you know, there's diversity and so forth. But sometimes there are not hazards, but steps you've got to go through, and certain people with disabilities, it's just not that easy. So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
Thank
no, definitely. Yeah. Just looking at a couple of the questions in the chat. What about a current project that is expanding? Yes, definitely. So I imagine that some applications will be really thought through and, you'll already sort of be underway but just need that additional funding, or some may be literally an idea that you're hoping to get off the ground. So yeah, both are acceptable and fine. Are we only offering one fellowship annually? Well, I would love to say more. This year we're offering one. It is the first year, and really, I guess we're testing the waters to see sort of, you know, what comes through, and ensuring that the funding is the right amount for ensuring that we do drive that impact back. But I mean, I would love to say next year that we would have more than one. Obviously, always open to any funders as well.
So that opens it up to a question that if you have an applicant that wants $30,000, does that then open it up to 2 applicants?
No, not this year, unfortunately.
No.
It'd be good to share it round, but no, it's just this year. It's the one for 50,000. But yeah, I would hope in years to come that we could extend that to more than one, definitely. Amazing questions. Thank you. Any more sort of?
I'm just thinking, did you touch on the milestones that were needing to be met? You got that one? Yep.
Yeah. I would, if you looking at applying, I would definitely encourage you to head to the website. I know Joe, you put the link in the chat, and have a read through the program guidelines. That'll give you a really clear understanding of what's required from your side and sort of the benefit that we will give. And there's also a blank application form in one of the drop downs about why to apply, or how to apply, I should say. So you can sort of prepare that prior to then going in, because once you go into the form, you do unfortunately have to complete it in one go. So I would have a look at that form initially and prepare your answers, and then you can go back in and drop it in.
And there's also great examples of what we'd consider in terms of supporting.
Yeah, so they're just case study examples, obviously, because it's the first year we don't have any case studies as yet, but those examples on the website are to give you a bit of an idea, hopefully not narrow your thinking, but just give you an idea of the diversity that we're hoping with the fellowship.
Awesome. Last chance for any live questions. Zanna, are you happy if I share your email address with the recording of this as well, if anyone's got any further questions afterwards?
Yeah.
No, sorry, my email's not working. It's Steph Schmidt here. Not my email, my camera. My head's not working either. Can I jump in with a quick question?
Sure.
No, so it said like we can't use it towards wages or salary, but so could you use it towards like subcontracting if you did evaluation of a program and contracted for someone to like covering the work of doing that evaluation, or like videography of a program? So like you are paying someone to do the work, but I guess what you meant by wages is you can't pay yourself that wage. Is that?
Yeah, so I guess it's not utilised as like here's 50 grand, spend as you will. That we can see sort of what the funding's been utilised for. So yes, I would think that would be fine, Steph.
If you're bringing in a skill you don't have.
Yeah.
Cool. Or getting someone to do some of the additional stuff if you don't have the time and capacity to do it, to pay that way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Any last questions at all? Well, Zanna and Lisa, I think this is an indication that your first year is going to be a cracker, so well done.
Find those new fellowships.
I know. I'll be
So I think that was a very
Sorry.
genuine shout out to anyone that might have access to donor funds. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to everyone who's dialed in live. If you are watching this recording back, there will be contact details with it, so feel free to reach out. Really excited for you, and what a beautiful legacy for Tim and all of the work that happened over his life and career. I think that anyone that's sort of crossed paths with him or his work or bits and pieces would very much be nodding along that this is a really beautiful tribute to. So
yeah, no, it's been really lovely. I've been in regular contact with Judy, his wife, and she's just blown away with the response that people have had, and just sort of bringing up his personality and passion for rural and regional Australia, which has been really lovely. It's been very well received. So thank you so much for the platform, and thank you so much to everybody for dialing in today as well. We really appreciate it.
No problem. And I get to do my shameless plug because you've all dialed in on these things. Like I said, if you haven't already checked out the connection table, we are always trying to put more opportunities in front of regional, rural and remote people doing really cool stuff. And it's really good to see lots of faces. Hello, Pip, dialing in there a little late there. Lots of faces that we get to see on a regular basis in the network. So come and check it out. But thank you again to Zanna and Lisa, and look forward to seeing how it all goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Jules. And thank you so much to everyone online.